Real power doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to posture, threaten, or boast. True strength enters quietly, calm, observant, and unreadable. The kind of presence that unsettles those who try to shake it. The kind that commands respect without saying a word. You've probably seen it before. Someone walks into a room, speaks little, yet everyone feels their energy. That's not luck, it's self-mastery. In a world that rewards outrage and overreaction, silence becomes a weapon, composure becomes strategy, and mystery becomes strength. This video will show you how to build that unshakable presence. Rooted in Stoic philosophy, you'll learn 6 timeless strategies that make others cautious, uncertain, and even intimidated, without you needing to raise your voice or explain yourself. If you're ready to become the kind of person who doesn't just react, but controls the entire room with presence alone, then you're in the right place. Subscribe to the Stoic Code channel and join a movement of quiet power, discipline, and inner strength. Point 1. Master your emotions. True power isn't measured by how loudly you speak, it's revealed in how silently you remain composed. In a world where everyone reacts instantly, often without thinking, mastering your emotions sets you apart as a fortress of calm in a sea of chaos. That's why emotional control is not just a virtue in Stoic philosophy, it's a weapon. When someone tries to provoke you, their goal is often to see you lose control. Whether it's a snide remark, public humiliation, or calculated disrespect, the bait is always the same. They want your reaction. But here's the secret. When you don't take the bait, you rob them of their power. Silence, when rooted in self-control, is far louder than any outburst. Think of yourself like a mountain. Storms may rage around it, lightning may strike, but the mountain remains unmoved. That's what emotional mastery looks like. It doesn't mean you don't feel anger, frustration, or pain. It means you don't let those feelings dictate your behavior. You become a deliberate actor, not a puppet pulled by strings. Stoic emperors like Marcus Aurelius and modern icons like Nelson Mandela understood this. They faced criticism, betrayal, and hardship, but rarely allowed their enemies to see them unravel. Why? Because composure commands respect, and in silence, mystery is born, one of the most potent forms of power. So how do you begin mastering your emotions? Start small. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of yelling, breathe. When someone criticizes you unfairly, pause before replying. These micro moments of control build inner strength. Over time, your presence will begin to shift. People will notice your calm. They'll sense something about you they can't quite name, but they'll respect it. Let others waste energy shouting. You, on the other hand, will become the one who listens more than you speak, who responds only when it serves your purpose. That's how you become untouchable, not by fighting every battle, but by choosing when and how to engage. And that's what makes your enemies uneasy, not your rage, but your restraint. Point 2. Build an unshakable presence. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is the quietest one. No need to boast, no need to dominate conversations, just a calm, steady energy that demands attention. That's the power of presence. And the truth is, you don't need status, wealth, or charisma to build it. You just need control over yourself. An unshakable presence isn't about how much you talk. It's about how much you don't have to. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you listen without needing to speak, the way your eyes reveal calm instead of chaos. People can feel that, and when they do, they don't just notice you, they respect you. Think of a warrior. Before the battle begins, he's not shouting or flailing his sword. He stands firm, breathing slow, eyes focused. His enemies hesitate, not because he's loud, but because he's prepared. Your life is no different. You walk into a room and you either command respect or you beg for it. So how do you create this kind of presence? Start with your body language. Shoulders back, chin level, movements controlled and intentional. Never fidget, never rush. People who rush are often unsure. But those who move with calm clarity project confidence, even in silence. Next, train your internal posture. This means developing a mindset that isn't easily shaken. When others gossip, you don't flinch. When someone tries to provoke you, you don't respond. This is not weakness, it's dominance in its most refined form. Even great leaders in history understood this. Mahatma Gandhi never needed to yell, yet he moved entire nations. His calm was contagious, his stillness powerful. And guess what? You can build that same power, not by pretending to be someone else, but by mastering your reactions and presenting yourself with unwavering calm. Most people let the world shape their presence. You're going to flip that. You're going to walk into any room, not trying to be liked or validated, but grounded in your own purpose. People will wonder what you're thinking. That mystery is your edge. Become the person who doesn't need to speak. But when they do, everyone listens. Want more insight like this? Subscribe to the Stoic Code and continue building the kind of presence that speaks for itself. Point 3. Let your actions speak louder than words. In a world full of noise, silence backed by action is your greatest weapon. While most people are busy talking about what they'll do, who they are, or how they deserve success, the truly powerful don't announce their moves. They execute them. Think about it. Which person commands more respect? The one who constantly makes promises, or the one who delivers without saying a word? We admire people who show up, do the work, and don't need a spotlight to feel significant. That's real influence. That's real leadership. Stoic philosophy teaches us not to waste energy proving ourselves with words. Epictetus said it best. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. In other words, don't tell people what you believe. Live it. Your consistency, your habits, your results. That's what defines you. Let's take a real-life example. Imagine two colleagues. One constantly talks about their plans, the promotion they'll get, the business idea they'll launch, the goals they'll crush. But nothing changes. It's all talk, no movement. The second colleague is different, quiet, focused. While others speak, this person builds, and over time, people notice. Not because they're loud, but because they're effective. Here's the truth. Action builds credibility, while empty words erode it. You don't need to prove anything to the world. Let your life become the proof. Want to gain respect? Be the most consistent person in the room. Want to silence your critics? Outwork them in silence. Want to change your life? Don't talk about change. Be the change. The Stoics believed in living with integrity, not for applause, but because it was right. Marcus Aurelius, despite being a Roman emperor, lived humbly, served diligently, and faced hardship without complaint. He didn't write his meditations to impress others. He wrote them to hold himself accountable. That's the difference. So here's your challenge. Say less, do more. Let your progress speak for you. And when people wonder how you did it, smile. You didn't announce your greatness. You built it. The most powerful people aren't the loudest. They're the ones whose discipline, actions, and consistency do all the talking. Point 4. Never overreact to insults. Imagine someone throws an insult your way. It's petty, maybe even false, but your instinct is to respond. Your pulse quickens, your jaw tightens, and your mind races for the perfect comeback. But here's the hard truth. The moment you react emotionally to an insult, you give away your power. Stoicism teaches us something radical in today's world of instant replies and online outrage. Silence is strength. An insult only gains weight when you choose to carry it. If someone calls you a failure, that doesn't make it true. It only affects you if you believe it. Overreacting doesn't expose the weakness of your opponent, it exposes yours. When someone insults you and you lash out, they've succeeded in their goal. You became predictable, controllable. But when you stay calm, collected and unbothered, they lose control and you gain it. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." That's a wake-up call. It means you've allowed their words to enter your emotional fortress. And the solution isn't revenge, it's discipline. Look at those who move through life with quiet power. Think of someone like Keanu Reeves, often mocked, rarely defended himself, but always kept moving forward. Today the world respects him, not because he argued back, but because he didn't need to. His actions, not his reactions, spoke volumes. So how do you master this skill? First, pause. When someone offends you, don't respond immediately. Take a breath. Ask yourself, does this really matter in the grand scheme of my life? 99 times out of 100 it won't. Insults fade. Your response lasts. Second, reframe. Realize that insults say more about the person delivering them than the person receiving them. It's a projection of their own insecurity, not a reflection of your truth. Third, stay composed. If needed, respond with dignity. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer. Other times, a calm, measured reply will leave them more shaken than any emotional outburst ever could. The truly dangerous person is not the one who reacts to every jab. It's the one who can't be moved by one. Become that person. Point 5. Control what they know about you. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful people are often the most mysterious? They speak less, reveal little, and yet somehow command more attention than those who overshare. Why? Because uncertainty breeds caution, and caution breeds respect. In a world obsessed with constant updates and oversharing, the person who keeps things to themselves becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. Stoic philosophy teaches that mastery of self includes mastery of what others see. You don't owe the world an explanation for every move you make. In fact, the less others know about your intentions, your weaknesses, or your next step, the harder it is for them to influence or manipulate you. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's not about self-deprecation. It's about embracing the strength in being underestimated. When people think they've figured you out, then realize they haven't, you shift from predictable to dangerous. Think about chess grandmasters. They rarely telegraph their strategy. They let you believe you're winning, all while setting a trap. Life is the same. If people can't see your endgame, they can't sabotage it. Now consider this in everyday life. That coworker who talks too much about their ambitions, complains about their boss, or shares every detail of their personal life. They're not just being open, they're giving away leverage. The more people know about your plans or your fears, the more they can use that information against you. Contrast that with someone who works in silence, moves with intention, and lets results speak instead of words. That person commands curiosity. They draw respect, not because of what they say, but because of what they withhold. They're the wild card everyone watches out for. So how do you practice this? Start by developing the habit of inner stillness. You don't need to share your opinions on everything. Keep your goals close. Let your actions be the proof. Stop trying to impress others by announcing what you'll do. Just do it. Then, when the results arrive, the world will be surprised. And they'll respect you more because they didn't see it coming. Remember, you control the narrative when you control the information. Point 6. Let silence be your shield. Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. In a noisy world full of arguments, boasts, and emotional outbursts, the person who remains calm and quiet stands out the most. Not because they're invisible, but because they're unreadable. And when people can't read you, they can't control you. Think of it this way: when someone insults you, provokes you, or tries to bait you into reacting, what do they want most? A reaction. The moment you respond emotionally, they've succeeded. They've pulled you into their storm. But when you remain silent, unfazed, you create confusion. You deny them the power they were hoping to grab. This is what Stoics have taught for centuries: to pause, to reflect, and to respond only when it serves you. Not every attack deserves a counterstrike. Not every insult deserves an answer. Sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." This isn't apathy, it's strength. It's the refusal to let your peace be disturbed by things that don't deserve your attention. Silence can also disarm. Imagine someone yelling, expecting you to argue back, but instead you stand still, no anger, no defense, just composed quiet. That silence becomes a mirror. They begin to see their own chaos reflected back, and in that moment, their power over you dissolves. Now let's be clear, silence doesn't mean surrender. It means choice. You are choosing not to let others drag you into a state of reactivity. You're choosing to remain in control of your emotional space. To cultivate this habit, start small. The next time someone makes a rude comment, don't rush to fire back. Instead, breathe, pause, say nothing, let them wonder what you're thinking. That pause isn't emptiness, it's presence. Over time, your silence will speak volumes. People will learn that you don't react, you respond, or sometimes you don't respond at all, and in that stillness, you'll find unmatched strength. So the next time you're tested, remember, silence is not absence, it's presence in its most powerful form. Point 7. Control what they know about you. In a world obsessed with oversharing, mystery is a weapon. The less others know about your intentions, your thoughts, your weaknesses, the more control you have. You don't need to be deceptive. You just need to be selective. Stoic philosophy teaches us to guard our inner world. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But here's the part most people miss. Those thoughts are yours, not public property, not something to broadcast for approval. When you keep your goals, emotions, and setbacks private, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability makes people cautious. Think of a chess master. The power lies not just in the moves they make, but in the ones they hide. A wise player never reveals their full strategy. They lead with intention but conceal their next steps, making opponents guess, hesitate, and second-guess themselves. Now picture this in real life. Two people enter a room. One talks about everything, what they plan to do, what they're feeling, who they dislike. The other says little. They observe, they listen, they speak only when it counts. Who commands more attention, more respect? The quiet one, because people fear what they can't figure out. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about protecting your energy. When others don't know what bothers you, they can't use it against you. When they don't know what drives you, they can't manipulate you. What you share should be intentional, not impulsive. Start practicing this today. When you're tempted to explain yourself, stop. Ask, do I need to be understood right now, or do I need to stay focused on what matters? When someone tries to dig into your life, smile and steer the conversation away. Not because you're hiding, but because you're prioritizing peace over performance. The more you reveal, the more others can control. But the more you withhold, the more power you retain. That doesn't mean living in isolation. It means living with intention. Let others guess your next move. Let them wonder what drives you. Let them stay curious, because the unknown is far more intimidating than the known. Point 8. Lead with purpose, not pride. There's a quiet strength in those who act from purpose instead of ego. In today's world, many chase recognition, posting accomplishments, seeking applause, and defining success by how many eyes are watching. But real power doesn't come from pride. It comes from purpose. And when you lead with purpose, your enemies don't know where to strike, because they can't see what you're chasing. Stoicism teaches that pride is fragile. It crumbles when ignored, collapses when criticized. But purpose endures. It doesn't care if it's praised or mocked. It keeps moving forward, unbothered, unshaken. Ask yourself, why do you do what you do? Is it to prove something to others, or to fulfill something within? One path depends on approval, the other builds inner strength. And your enemies? They're watching closely. If they can see your pride, they'll aim for it. If they sense your ego, they'll try to bruise it. But if all they see is calm, focused action, they'll be left guessing. Look at the greatest leaders, not those who shout the loudest, but those who move with clarity. Think of Nelson Mandela. He didn't return from prison filled with vengeance. He returned with vision, a purpose to unite, not retaliate. That's why even those who once feared him came to respect him. His strength wasn't in pride. It was in knowing exactly who he was and what he stood for. When you lead with purpose, you rise above petty games. You don't engage in drama because you've already chosen a higher path. You don't react to insults because your focus is too valuable to waste. And you don't need validation because your mission validates itself. So, how can you begin? Strip away the need for applause. Define your goals not by what others will think, but by what aligns with your values. Journal your why. Write down the mission behind your actions. Then follow through without announcing it. Let your results whisper your strength, while your purpose roars in silence. A man or woman with purpose is impossible to control. They're not swayed by threats, not shaken by opinions, and not slowed by distractions. Let them underestimate you. Let them wonder what drives you. Let your purpose remain your armor. Point 9. Choose power over pity. Never play the victim. There's a trap that many fall into. A subtle, tempting trap that offers sympathy in exchange for strength. It's the victim mindset. When things go wrong, when life feels unfair, it's easy to retreat into blame, to talk about how others hurt you, how circumstances betrayed you. But make no mistake, every time you choose pity over power, you surrender a piece of your potential. Stoic wisdom teaches the opposite. Life will hurt you. People will lie, cheat, betray, insult, and abandon you. That's not a reflection of your worth. It's a test of your character. And your enemies, they love to see you broken. Not because they win anything, but because your collapse feeds their illusion of power. If you want to terrify your enemies, don't curse them, rise without them. Marcus Aurelius never blamed the Senate for their corruption. Epictetus, born a slave, didn't wallow in despair. Instead, they chose responsibility over resentment. They focused on what they could control. That is where real power begins. Let's be honest. Life isn't fair. But what if the goal was never fairness? What if the goal was growth? When you stop seeing yourself as a victim, you start seeing your trials as tools. And that shift, that's dangerous to those who hope to keep you small. Imagine someone tries to ruin your reputation. They spread rumors. They twist your words. What would most people do? Plead their case, seek sympathy, defend themselves endlessly. But the one who refuses to play the victim, who stands calm, says nothing, and lets time reveal the truth, that person is unshakable. You don't need to explain your scars to those who caused them. You don't need to post your pain for likes and pity. Rise in silence. Let your improvement speak louder than your complaints. That's how you become feared, not through domination, but through resilience. To live as a Stoic is to never let your suffering define you. You write your own meaning. You rebuild without applause. You heal without needing an audience. And when the world sees that nothing can break your will, your presence alone becomes untouchable. Point 10. Be the storm they never see coming. There's a kind of power that doesn't shout, doesn't brag, and doesn't warn you it's on the way. It just arrives, silent, focused, unstoppable. That's the kind of person you become when you live deliberately, train in private, and show no signs of what's building behind your calm exterior. In a world obsessed with attention, your silence is your sword. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the most dangerous force is the one that moves in silence. A lion doesn't roar before it strikes. It observes, calculates, waits. And when the moment is right, it moves with precision. The same applies to you. Stop broadcasting your every goal. Stop explaining your every move. People can't sabotage what they don't see coming. Imagine this. While everyone else is chasing validation, you're quietly working. You're building skills, mastering your emotions, sharpening your mind. You show up every day with intention, never asking for applause. Then one day, without warning, you release a project, land a new opportunity, or rise from a setback stronger than ever. People around you are stunned. Where did that come from? They ask. That's the power of quiet preparation. Think of it like the ocean. From the surface it may look calm, but beneath, entire currents are shifting with incredible force. That's how you should live, peaceful on the outside, relentless underneath. The Stoics didn't wait for others to motivate them. They didn't explain their resilience. They simply acted, and the world adjusted. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by war and betrayal, never lost his discipline. He didn't speak of greatness. He lived it in his thoughts, his journal, his decisions. Quiet strength became his legacy. And that's your challenge now. Stop warning people about who you're becoming. Don't tell them what's coming. Become it. Let them underestimate you. Let them dismiss you. Because when you move with no noise, your arrival shakes the ground. If you truly want to command respect, be the storm that changes everything without needing to announce itself. In a world full of noise, those who master silence become the loudest. Not through volume, but through presence. You've now learned what few dare to practice, that strength isn't in your voice, it's in your restraint. Power doesn't come from dominance, it comes from discipline. You don't need to argue to prove your worth. You don't need to react to show your strength. The truly powerful don't chase recognition. They move with quiet certainty, and the world eventually moves around them. Your enemies? They fear what they can't read. They fear the one who won't rise to bait, the one who doesn't need to defend or explain. Because when you don't show your hand, you control the game. Let your calm be unsettling. Let your actions be undeniable. And let your silence speak louder than any threat ever could. This is the essence of Stoic strength. Not loud, not boastful, but deeply rooted and immovable. The kind of strength that doesn't need to shout because it's already known. So now the question is, who do you choose to become? Someone easily rattled by every insult and opinion? Or someone who walks like a shadow, focused, unbothered, and respected without saying a word? Every day you have a choice. Build your mind, guard your energy, let your presence speak for itself. And when you walk into a room, let the air change without you saying a thing. Thank you for watching. If this message stirred something in you, share it with someone who needs it. And if you're ready to live with that same silent strength, hit subscribe to join the Stoic Code. Because this is where quiet warriors are made.